Hi, it's Lee Solden again. Um, Picking up where I left off. Um, my lecture today is about teaching Dutch. This is the second day of this. Um, okay, while I was in between the two segments of this film today, I went ahead and uh, did a comment attaching the link to the video that Slash Depover made with him speaking some Dutch. Okay. And so it's there now attached to the first video. And earlier I'd posted the ear tuning syllables that I'm about to talk about, along with the transcript for the first bit of the sentence that matches those ear tuning syllables. Okay, so the material is there for you. Um, this is Lee Solden. Uh, this is being done live at World Languages Facebook page. And I'm a guy who's been trying to learn a bunch of languages, 12 of them, and I also teach them. And why am I so wanting to teach them? Is because I found during my studies a way to learn faster, to learn languages faster, and to teach languages faster. To teach languages without having the person study or waste a whole lot of their time trying to memorize stuff. Instead, I have them pick it up by a combination of passive listening, which the passive listening is boosting the active listening the person's doing. Okay. And specifically, I have a person do three things. They surround themselves with the language. And while it's surrounding them, I start having them doing ear tuning exercises, which I'm about to get into in this segment for this particular video. And after their ear is really good, then I start teaching them the language. Okay. And I am going to start teaching you the language, some of the languages today, what this little bit means, and assuming that you can come back to it later when you're ready for it. If you've not done all this passive listening, I would suggest you do that first, then come back, do the ear tuning exercises. When your ear all of a sudden goes, oh, this Dutch sounds like really clear to me now. Okay, when that happens, it's usually a couple days after you start ear tuning exercises. Then listen to this the end of this section right here of the video, where I'm going to start introducing Dutch to you. Okay, so we're doing specifically ear tuning syllables that match what this guy is saying at the very start of his video. It goes like this, and I'm going to read them slowly to you, so that if you're trying ear tuning for the first time, you can try with my voice before you try it with his voice. Okay, to get you more familiar with the ear tuning syllables. It's not necessary. You can go straight to this guy's video and start doing the ear tuning syllables, ear tuning exercises off of his video. Okay, and it'll work. It'll seem tougher to you, but you'll get a little better at it probably. And it's only doing this 1 hour a day times a few days, and your ears gonna get pretty good for Dutch. Okay, but in case you want to start out by getting more familiar with the ear tuning syllables, I'm going to read them to you, and I believe you can just rewind them, so I'm just going to read them one time. Goeiedag, beste kijkers. Ik maak dit filmpje om Lee te helpen. Hij heeft me dat gevraagd omdat hij jullie daarmee bedoel ik dat mensen die graag Nederlands willen leren, leren, tegemoet wil komen met de juiste materialen om het beter te leren. Okay, I'll do it one more time. Nah, maybe not. You can rewind it. It wasn't perfect, but it's enough. If you listen to that a few times, me saying kind of slowly, you can get used to how the ear tuning syllables go. And then go over to his video and try it with, he's a native speaker. So I suggest, I'm not having you depend on my pronunciation for anything, okay? I did write these ear tuning syllables, by the way, along with Slash Depover, my partner in this. I wrote these by what I heard him say. I'm the guy who writes ear tuning syllables, okay? But he's the guy who can sit there and say something to me like 4 or 5 times in a row so I can pick up exactly what he's saying. And I write it, and he listens. He looks at it and goes, "Yeah, that is pretty close to what I'm saying." Okay, that's how these got produced. These got produced a couple of hours ago. Okay, and again, last end of the last segment, I went over the key. There's a key also posted on my earlier post today, which I posted like just before I went on at 5 o'clock. So looks for something posted right at 5 o'clock. There is the transcript of the first few sentences, along with the ear tuning syllables, along with the guide. Now, okay, so here's your instructions for ear tuning. Okay, let's say you've already got familiar with the ear tuning syllables a bit. You got familiar with the guide, and you can skip the guide if you want to. I mean, you don't have to look at it right, especially right away. Just try to follow what this guy is saying, syllable by syllable. Your ear is probably not tuned to Dutch unless you know German or some other language associated with Dutch. So you're not going to actually be able to do these exercises. They're going to be impossible for you, which is probably why no one ever came up with this ear tuning system of mine, because who's going to tell a student to go attempt the impossible and try to explain to them that you can't actually do this? And now I'm telling you, if you're an English speaker, you can understand what I just said. But if your native language is Arabic and you're weak at English, you probably did not understand what I said. And therefore, you need instructions directly from me, where I can tell you one little bit at a time. Make sure you're understanding me. If you're in that boat, if you need me to explain this to you one on one, hey, just get a hold of me on Facebook Messenger, Lee, Lee Solden, Sohlden, and I can get you started on ear tuning on a one-on-one basis, a little bit of coaching. Okay. I had to do that last night. Got guys learning German from me from Brazil, and I've been through this many times now, well, 4 times exactly, from that country, with trying to communicate to somebody who's a Portuguese speaker and I'm speaking English. Well, even though you know the words doesn't mean you know what the sentence means when you put the words together. Okay, there's a language barrier. But I've been through it. This is my 4th time, so I was able to, within like a half hour, explain how to do these ear tuning exercises to him. Okay, so it's doable. A lot of times it has to be on a one-on-one basis. I have to get a person to start doing them. Then I have to double and triple check to see if they got that step right before I go on to the next step. So you might have to rewind this bit of film several times. So the first thing you're going to do is you go to the very beginning of the audiobook that Slash Depover made, which I've posted here, and you're going to play it. And you're going to try your best to follow by reading in your mind only, not out loud, no speaking. In your mind only, you're going to follow these ear tuning syllables, and you're going to be reading them in your mind exactly and precisely as they are spoken by Slash. Okay? Now, you can't actually do that. You're going to get lost. What do? You keep reading. You read all of them. When you're done reading them, go back to the beginning, try it again. As you keep trying, you get a little more familiar with the ear tuning syllables. Okay? So I want you to do that about 10 times. 10 times reading the ear tuning syllables while trying to match them exactly syllable by syllable to the voice on the audiobook from Slash Depo, the guy doing the audiobook for me. Okay. And if you're gonna maybe you'll keep up gooey doc, and then now you're lost, and you might have to skip several syllables ahead where he says Lee to helping. It says he's saying like clearing your throat kind of thing. Lee, that's me, to helping, to help. Te is to helping. Okay, so I'm just pointing out that you got that lead to helping. Maybe if you're an English speaker, that's an easy place where you can pick back up. Okay, so when you get lost, and you probably will, keep struggling to catch back up, and just keep doing it again and again. You'll get more familiar with these ear tuning syllables, and it'll be easier and easier for you to catch up when you get lost. Okay. So what do you do next? After you've 10 times read these ear tuning syllables while listening to the audiobook, the next thing you're going to do is listen to the same ear tuning syllables or the same bit of speech where these come from, I should say. But this time you're going to close your eyes and just listen very carefully 10 times over. Okay. That is one set of ear tuning exercises. There are only 2 steps. Step 1, 10 times reading the ear tuning syllables silently in your mind only while listening to the voice. Step 2, listen to them carefully 10 times with your eyes closed. So now you've already getting familiar with what you're supposed to be hearing. See if you can actually hear that, okay? And the more you do this, and by the way, you're going to be hearing these ear tuning syllables 120 times a day, you will get more familiar with them, okay? Okay, that's one set. You got to do 3 sets. So altogether, it's 10 times reading the ear tuning syllables while you're listening, then 10 times only listening, eyes closed, then back to 10 times reading the ear tuning syllables while listening, and then again 10 times just listening, and once more 10 times reading the ear tuning syllables while listening, and then 10 times only listening with your eyes closed. And never during this process do you speak at all. Now, once you're done doing that, it should take you about a half hour to do that. And hey, if you want to try reading along with the after you've done your half hour of ear tuning exercises, that's fine with me. Okay, so you do a half hour of that in the morning, ear tuning exercises. Before you go to bed, you do another half hour of ear tuning exercises. So a total of 1 hour a day. And in between, you're doing your passive listening, which is just ignoring it for like 3 hours. And half of that should be that particular audiobook Slash made, okay, looping. So you're hearing it over and over and over again. And the other half, hey, you can listen to the same audiobook if you want, or find something else in Dutch. Listen to Dutch music, whatever you want to listen to, okay? So that's ear tuning. Um, ask questions as you need to in the comments. Feel free to contact me. I'm teaching a couple. Let me see. I'm teaching two people Dutch at the moment. Um, I'm being taught Dutch. I mean, Slash is teaching me Dutch. I'm teaching to a couple of people, um, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be teaching it more through this series of lectures. And with doing this series of lectures, hey, this thing could be the series of lectures could be out there for a year, and anybody who wants to come along and learn Dutch without having to study it can come to this lecture series and learn it without studying. So, hey, that would be my if I wanted to learn. When I want to learn a language these days, I don't study. I do. I learn the same way that I teach. Although being the teacher means someone has to create the material. Okay, so most of my time is really creating material to teach others. Yeah, I learn some while I'm doing that, but uh, not that much compared if I was spending the time on my, if someone else had made all this up before I was born, okay, the system already existed. That's all I would be doing is spending time surround myself with the language, passive listening to it, and doing read-throughs. That's all I would do. I'd be picking up all these languages very rapidly, but instead, what I'm doing is setting up for everybody else to learn. By doing this series of videos, I can set up everybody one time and it's there on a permanent basis. I'm going to try to get it all on YouTube also, plus on this site. And I'm going to try to do the same thing with Spanish and eventually all 12 languages that I teach. And then as people ask me to teach them, I'll point them to the appropriate video series. Hey, there it is, everything you need to learn a language right there in this video series, and then ask me questions as needed. So that's part of why I'm doing this series, and I'm trying to advertise my program, which, by the way, I'm teaching everybody for free. This is all free of charge. I ran into this system. I think it's really great. And I don't believe in just keeping something to myself when I make it such a discovery. I'm like, okay, this is a great way to learn. So I feel it's my duty to go out there and tell people about the system. Okay, and so there's a couple of reasons that the teacher in me wants to make it so that I can teach more people. So I'm doing this video series. The part of me that wants to teach the system, again, why not do this series where anybody who wants to learn this system can do so. Now, I did a series of before teaching Dutch, I did a series about my system, but it didn't include a language. This one does. So all the same information, except also within it, you're going to learn a language if you listen to this series. Okay. So let's say you've been doing a lot of passive listening to Dutch. And let's say that you've now done the ear tuning exercises for several days and you're hearing Dutch really well. Next thing you need to do is you actually got to start learning Dutch. And the way you do that is the way a kid learns it. You get introduced to the meanings of the Dutch in a known language, or in the kid's case, in the terms of previously learned words to pick up a new word, or those very first few words, the kid's picking them up by such things as the mother's gestures, the mother's faces, the mother's tone of voice, what the brother's doing, what the child is doing, etc. Everything going on around when the word is spoken, the speech center picks that all up, and overnight the speech center works on it, builds these things called paradigms that allow the person to understand the language, and that all that is put into the permanent memory of the child, or in your case, the student's permanent memory. Okay, and again, none of this involves studying. Kids don't study. Their speech center is the one. Their speech center does all the work, picks up all the cues surrounding any new words. Okay, and you don't have to do a lot of work, but you do have to do this. Before you listen to the Dutch, you have to be introduced to what that Dutch sentence means. Now, a lot of times I never meet anybody. I just send them files, sentence by sentence, telling them what each sentence means. Okay, and that's how I teach Korean or whatever. But then again, some people I talk to on a regular basis. Slash, for instance, I've been talking to him regularly, teaching him German first, which he's now on self-study, and then next was Portuguese, and he's currently um, I'm teaching him Portuguese sentence by sentence, and I'll be teaching him. I taught him a little bit of Spanish, but although Portuguese is going to remain his main focus, and at the same time, this week we'll be turning to Italian for a bit. Again, not his main focus, but he's slowly going to slowly learn the Spanish, slowly learn the Italian, while he's mainly focusing on Portuguese. Okay, and so I talk to him regularly, but most people I just send files telling them what stuff means. Now, in your case, if you're learning Dutch from me, I will try to create those files, but I'm also going I'm creating this video. So here goes. Okay, what is this guy saying? Gui da. It's just the word for hi, okay? And I'll break that down a little bit. Da just means it's this word for day, okay? Good day. It's kind of saying good day, basically. Uh, da. If you're an English speaker, well, the word's day. You ever wonder why it's spelled with a Y? Well, okay, just think about that. Anyway, all dag is in the uh, Dutch language is the word day. It's the same word, really. It's just a matter of uh, differences in pronunciation and whatnot, but it's pretty close phonetically to the same. Okay, so we got goeiedag. It means hi. Next thing he says is beste kijkers. Okay, beste kijkers. What does that mean? Well, beste, it means best. Okay, so and a kijker is an onlooker. Okay, so what is he saying? He's saying best audience. Okay, the same equivalent to saying ladies and gentlemen. Okay, beste kijkers. Okay, next, ich. Okay, ich. It's I said it in German a little bit, sir. Sorry about that. Ich, I. Okay, and it starts with an I. The English word for I starts with an I, so it's not too hard to remember that ich means I. Okay, maak. Um, this is the word make. So he's I made, or I am making, whatever. I making dit filmje. Filmpje. Well, dit is just this. Okay. Now, how can you remember that? Well, dit. Well, it starts with a D, but they don't have a th sound really in the Dutch language, so they got to use th. They got to have a substitute for it. So they use a D, or they could use a T sometimes, but in this case, this comes out dit. Well, the T is right next door to the S phonetically. So if a Dutch speaker came to the United States, he was talking English sentence, and he said, okay, Dit is really good. This is really saying this is really good. But he says dit is really good. Well, you're probably going to understand what he said, even though he said dit. Okay, it's not too far off phonetically from this. Filmpje. Well, it's a film. That's kind of obvious. And that little y on the end is just oh, okay. That is just make it a diminutive. Okay. If you know what that means. In other words, it's making a little cute word out of a regular word. So the word is film, and it goes to filmpia. Okay, well, that doesn't mean nothing. I'm making this film for om. Om means for, and he's just saying clearing his throat, kind of saying, little pause in his sentence. Lee to helping. Well, Lee is me. De is to. Helping is help. Okay, so he's making this film to help Lee. Okay. Hij heeft me dat gevraagd. Okay, it means he. Hij is he. You see that's pretty close. Heeft, okay, has. And that's a little not quite as far off as you might think, because an F and a V are the same sound. The word have has a V in it, right? So here we got heeft, heeft. Well, it went to an F in this language, okay? So it's not too far off. So he has me that asked. Okay, me is me. Me is they pronounce it me. Okay, dot that dot. Again, they don't have a th, and the is a standard European pronunciation of an a ah. So instead of that, it comes out dot dot. Change the th to a d dot. So hij heeft mij dat gevraagd. You get the little hitch in the throat. You got to kind of say the little hitch, and then the it's a little tough. Takes a little practice, but hey, you know what? You hear enough of this, it sounds. If you say it wrong, you know it because you've been listening so much, which helps you say something correctly. That's why I tell people don't push it. Wait till you hear it correctly. Okay, gevraagd. Okay, it means asked. Okay. Now, I can't relate. So vragen is to ask. So I can't really relate that to an English word in this case. So you just got to remember that gevraagd means asked. Okay. Okay. Omdat means because. Okay. And is for, as we learned earlier in the sentence. Dot is that. Well, for that. Well, okay, that's how they say because. Omdat. For that. Or because he, Yelly. Who's Yelly? Yelly is you all. Okay. You people. You, plural. Yelly. Okay. So Yelly just means you all. And you, okay, you, you. It's kind of in there. Kind of in there. I mean, the yeah, and they got the yeah, yelly, yelly. The first syllable, yeah, you, yelly, yelly. Okay, so it's you, plural. Darme, darme. Okay, there's a comma here. So I'm gonna go back. The sentence starts at hi, goedendag, best audience, best kijkers. That means lookers, best lookers, literally. Ik maak dit filmpje. I'm making this film for, pausing, Lee to helpen, to help Lee. Hij heeft me dat gevraagd. He has asked me this because you. Now he has a comment there explaining what is you. Okay, you, okay, therewith, therewith, bedul ik, bedul means mean, ik is I. So he says, I mean, he switches around, bedul ik. So therewith, I mean, thus mensen, okay, uh, that men, die, die kind of, it means, in this case, means which, can mean other things depending on where you find the sentence. Graag, graag means happily, and that doesn't have an equivalent in English anywhere. Mensen doesn't mean men; it means people. Okay, but it's easy to figure out, kind of. Nederlands, that's what they call their language, Nederlands. Okay, willen leren. Okay, will is will. Willen is just the word will. Leren, leren means to learn or to teach. Excuse me. This case, excuse me, means to learn. Want to learn. So will means I will or I want. So will you learn it? Or do you want to learn it? Willen leren. Okay. So who is Yully? Yully is he means people who would like to learn Dutch. Okay, then it's end of that. We got a comma there, so it's end of that phrase. Then he says tegemoet will komen. That means, okay, tegemoet means to meet, and will komen, so will come to meet. In other words, they will obtain. Okay, it's a fancy way of saying they're going to get. So you're going to meet something. Okay, meet what or get what? Coleman met means with. Real no good way to memorize met equals with, I don't think. I mean, it does have the T, which they don't have. They don't have a TH. So if you put a, we come out the meth instead of with. But okay, the M I can't explain. So I tell people, hey, take that M and turn it upside down. Then you got with. If you turn the M upside down, change the T to a TH, you got with, which means it means with. Okay, so that's my little memory trick there. Okay, de is pronounced de, means the. That's just a common. There's two ways to say the in that language, de and het. We don't have any hets here. Okay, de. Then we got joiste. Okay, joiste means correct or just or well, means right or correct. That's the main meanings for it, right? But you can kind of see, is somebody just? Okay, you can see the English word helps you in this case to figure out what joista means. Okay, so with the right materials, materialen, okay, for again, oh, there's the word, okay, het. Okay, het doesn't always mean the, sometimes it means it. In this case, it means it. For it, beter means better, to te, leren, to learn, okay? So, he's saying, he's providing this to me to help you, the people who want to learn Dutch, to have the materials to better learn with. That is the whole meaning of the sentence, okay? You might notice that the word order, if you're an English speaker, the word order seems strange and odd because it's kind of backwards to how you might put the words. I tell people, learning Dutch is a good inroad into learning German because I'm not saying, depending on the Dutch speaker and the Dutch dialect, they're going to put words in different orders, but even even in German, which is actually 12 different German dialects, which together they call the German language, people can say stuff in different order, okay? If you learn Dutch at first as an inroad into German, not a bad idea because if you learn to read one, it helps you learn to read the other, okay? So, I'm going to go over this one more time. Goeiedag, hi, beste kijkers, best onlookers, best audience, or ladies and gentlemen, ik maak dit filmpje, I'm making this film for this is clearing his throat, Lee to help Lee. Hij heeft me dat gevraagd. He has asked me this, or asked me that, doesn't matter, for, or because, excuse me, dot, because you guys, and by you guys, therewith, I mean, bedoel ik is I, bedoel is mean, bedoel ik, dus mensen die graag, okay, that men, people, whom would like graag Nederlands willen leren, would like to learn Nederlands, Dutch, will find, tegenmoet will komen, to meet will come, obtain or find, met is with, de juiste, the right materialen, the right materials. Om het voor it beter te leren, better to learn. And again, don't go by how I'm pronouncing this stuff. Listen to Slash, okay? Now, last thing I'm going to do today is teach you how to do read-throughs. First overview, first time you're going to see read-throughs. How do you do a read-through? Well, you can simply do this. You can listen to what I just told you. Listen to what I just told you, where I explain how this sentence goes, right? Listen to it a couple times you want to. And then go to the video, play it, and try, and you can't, reading it? Well, wait a second. Yeah, you can read it. You can, because I posted the words earlier today, right about 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern, okay, U.S. Eastern time. I posted the words, so you can read the words in Dutch as you're listening to this guy speak, and you can hey, then you can rewind and listen to my explanation of the sentence again if you want to, and then you can again read what is written as you hear him speak it. Do it up to 3 times, okay? Then you're going to close your eyes and just listen to him. And before you close your eyes and just listen, you can, again, listen to me explain what the sentence means, okay? Or you can just listen 3 straight times. I don't care. Whichever you want to do. The more time you take, the less efficient it is, okay? It's always better to move on to the next sentence, but you don't have a next sentence. In this case, all you can really do is, spend time learning this one sentence. So, but rather than spend a whole lot of time on it today, I would say listen to what it means, listen to him say it, and then while you're reading it, and then just listen to it and see if you got some understanding just by ear alone, okay? And do it a few times each, either with eyes closed or while reading, okay? And then do it again tomorrow. Don't do it 20 times today. Do it a few times each today, and then a few times each tomorrow, a few times each the next day. That's how you learn this language. You just keep introducing meaning along with what is spoken in the target language. That's how kids pick up their language. They keep hearing the same words. Household only has 500 words for the most part, cover almost everything said day to day. So the kid's always hearing the same thing over and over again. Okay, so I want you, but again, they don't learn it all in one day. They go to sleep. The speech center builds paradigms, whatnot. They hear the same words the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and slowly but surely they pick the language up. That's how I want you to focus on this. The read throughs is the bulk of the time overall in my program. I'm not asking you to spend a whole lot of time, especially now, on these read throughs. Just a little bit of time, and listen to a lot of Dutch, and do the ear tuning exercises. Even if your ear is now good to Dutch, as you're hearing me say these words, don't stop doing your ear tuning exercises. I mean, I'm asking you to start out with after you've listened 21 hours of passively to Dutch, to do an hour a day for about a week, and then slack off to maybe a half hour a day for a week, then 15 minutes a day for a week, and then maybe 10 minutes. Stay with 10 minutes or 15 minutes for quite a while. And eventually, about a year later, you're still doing 5 minutes of ear tuning exercises, uh, say twice a week. Okay. So you never stop doing ear tuning exercises. You never stop the passive listening. Um, the as far as putting time into the read throughs, I suggest generally that a person uh, does the read throughs, ear tuning first if you're going to do ear tuning that day, followed by doing the read throughs. Don't spend a whole lot of time on it, and then go to passive listening. Okay. Try to always optimize how much learning you get out of how much hours you put into learning the language. If a person's in a big hurry to learn Dutch, then I'm suggesting that you do a half hour of read throughs followed by passive listening for 2 hours, then do another half hour of read throughs, and then another 2 hours of passive listening. And then again, if you're really in a hurry, well, hey, maybe you're going to have to skimp on some of your passive listening and do more read throughs. It's the more you weight it toward the read throughs versus the passive listening, the less efficient time wise it goes. But if you got a timeline, if you have a deadline, then doing more read throughs is the only way you're going to keep adding that material faster. Okay. So it depends on each individual what their needs are. If it's just a hobby for you and you don't want to take a lot of time, then don't do that many read throughs. Let your speech center pick it up for you by the passive listening to the audiobook. Okay, and so that's it for today. Tomorrow, more of the same. I'm trying to invite people to learn Dutch from me through this series. I will go over the ear tuning again, and I will hopefully have another sentence prepared uh, where I can tell you what a sentence of Dutch means. Okay, and that's it. So next time I talk to you will be 5 o'clock U.S. Eastern Time. That will be on Friday, and that'll be August 7th, 2020. This is a live recording on the Facebook page called World Languages. I am Lee Solden, Sohlden. I'm working with Slash Depover, Slash Depover, Depover, to make this series up. And again, my thanks to Juancho Garces, I believe, um, for he's the guy here at World Languages who set me up to do this series. Good day.